Boom, everybody. Welcome to November 10th. Dr. Duc Vuong here, best effing dad. I want to do a quick COVID update. I want to talk about this freaking stupid idea of natural immunity. All right. So yesterday I thought it was 40 minutes, but it was actually only 20 minutes to a suburb of Houston and got my daughter got her first Pfizer dose, pediatric Pfizer dose. And she's only 5 years old. She took it like a champ, a little tear. And then we took her shopping, bought her a little gift. She was all good after that. All right. And today has a little bit of soreness on her arm. She hasn't grown a monkey tail. She's not babbling in weird voices. She's not twitching. She is fine. She's at school. Okay. She didn't collapse, didn't have anaphylaxis, blah, blah, blah. And I can talk a little bit about, my reasons for immunizing my 5-year-old. My 15-year-old's immunized, my family's immunized, so she's the last one to get protected. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is this notion of natural immunity, okay? First of all, tip number one, quit fucking calling it natural immunity, because the anti-vaxxers, the people who don't want to get the vaccine, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. So the new narrative is, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I just don't like this vaccine. All right, okay? So we'll call you vaccine hesitant. So the vaccine hesitant will say, hey, I've had COVID last year, or they'll say, no, I'm young and healthy. I'm going to use my natural immunity. Tip number one, quit calling it natural immunity. And you vaccine hesitant people do not get to co-opt the term natural immunity. It's all natural immunity. I have natural immunity. Just because you're not taking the vaccine doesn't mean I don't use my natural immunity. I walk around, I haven't had the flu in years. I don't get sick. I dig in my garden all the time. I poke my finger and look, my finger, I haven't lost any fingers from gardening, right? I have natural immunity. I eat sushi and I don't have like horrible tapeworms and shit, we all have natural immunity. So that's number one. Quit co-opting that term. It's not yours. Number two, what we need to do is start calling it post-infection immunity or post-vaccination immunity. So if you're watching this video and you follow me, I need your help. I very rarely ask for your help. My plea to you is this. Let's change the narrative right here and now. All right, motherfucker, you don't get to co-opt that term natural immunity. We all have natural immunity. You get to say post-infection immunity or post-vaccination immunity or no immunity. All right, if you have not had COVID and you have not gotten vaccinated, you have no immunity, because that's what novel coronavirus means. That's what novel means. It's new. You don't have immunity to it. Okay, so and tip number three, everything that vaccine hesitant people say about the vaccine also applies to post-infection non-immunized people. Okay, what do you mean, Dr. V? So vaccine hesitant people will say, well, why should I get vaccinated if the vaccinated can still catch COVID? The post-infection person can also re-catch COVID. What's that? What's that mean? You can also re-catch it. We have people catching COVID again a second and a third time. So that's possible. The difference is, and the non-immunized people, the ones who haven't had it and aren't vaccinated, they're going to get the most severe disease. The post-infected immunized ones will have less severe disease usually the second time. The studies have shown that the post-vaccinated people have a much milder case, even if they catch it. The second thing that hesitant people will say is, well, why should I get vaccinated if you can still pass it on? Post-infected people can still pass it on. Non-immunized people can definitely pass it on. They're the main ones catching it, and they're the main ones passing it on, and they're the main ones in the hospital, by far. So the newer studies, as data comes in, because this is the science that y'all keep going, what is this science? Everyone keeps talking about, what exactly is the science? The science is like data that keeps coming in, and we analyze it and we look at it, and the picture's getting clearer. It's like, initially you've seen that movie scene where it's all blurry at the beginning and then it gets pixelated and it gets really clear, and then you realize you're looking at someone's face or some scene or landscape or whatever. So that's science. The data was initially fuzzy, and the CDC said, yes, if you are vaccinated, you can still harbor virus in your nose. You can still pass it on. Now, fast forward, we're we're 11 months into vaccination. The picture's getting clearer, and it turns out that people who are post-vaccinated are less likely, not zero, because there's nothing ever fucking zero, less likely to get, to pass on, to transmit. We know that the data's coming in that it is the non-immunized that are passing on the disease, right? That's transmitting, that's having severe disease, that's being hospitalized. Every argument that they say about being vaccine hesitant doesn't apply, applies to them. They'll say, so here's another one. They'll say, well, I don't know the long-term effects of the vaccine. Well, using the picture analogy, we weren't sure about the long-term effects of COVID, but now it's becoming very clear. A new report came out that says up to 50, another report recently came out, 50% of post-COVID patients still have lingering at least one long-term effect from COVID 1 year later. Now, let me ask you this. When was the last time you had a flu last 1 year? This is not the effing flu. Stop that. All their arguments are so 2020. Can I have a so 2020, please, in the comments? All right. So, for example, up to 50% of people who are post-infected will have at least one of these symptoms. The most common ones are shortness of breath, fatigue, migraines, headaches, and general brain fog. I mean, and you're seeing the ages come down. You're talking about 40, 45, 50-year-old young, healthy, productive people now with brain fog, trying to go back to work, trying to focus. The argument is so dumb. And on the other hand, as the data comes in, we're starting to realize the safety and efficacy of the vaccine. We have people who are vaccinated and they're pregnant. Pregnancy does really well. We have people who are pregnant and unvaccinated, not doing so good. Preterm deliveries, stillbirth. You see stories of moms dying after delivery, moms in the hospital for 100 days before coming home to see their newborn baby. And the vaccinated pregnant women don't have issues. We also have, but you don't know it's going to affect the fertility. We have post-vaccine. We are 11 months into post-vaccination. Don't you think that there are now post-vaccinated babies being born? Of course there are. The data will come in. It's not going to affect, I can almost guarantee you, my girlfriend is still ovulating. There is a very good chance we are both vaccinated, probably have another kid. TMI, Dr. V, TMI. Now, does that make sense? We need to get away from this idea that I have natural immunity and y'all motherfuckers don't. I have oh my God, I saw this meme the other day. I have pure blood. What the fuck is wrong with you? Really? That's your argument when COVID hits you. I have pure blood. Unfortunately, I have an acquaintance who was did all the wrong things, did not get vaccinated. And it's they never watched my video, the first symptoms, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to tough this out. I don't like going to the hospital. I went to the ER. They were packed. I said, I'm out of here. I went home. They wanted to admit me, and I said, no, I believe in my own health, my body, my choice. I went home. Oh, fuck, I can't breathe. My stats are going down 70%. I'm taking ivermectin. I'm taking blah, blah, blah. I'm taking hydroxychloroquine. I have a friend who gave me my hydroxychloroquine. I'm like, really? You're doing all the stuff I tell you not to do. I'm just going to trust my body. I'm going to get monoclonal antibodies. Ambulance ride. All right, here comes the ambulance ride to the hospital. Get to the hospital. I'm stuck in the ER. There's no beds in the ER. Like, yes, we know there's no beds in the hospitals. Stuck down here. And oh my, I'm yelling. I'm demanding. I get monoclonal antibodies. Oh, it turns out we don't have any monoclonal antibodies. They're out. Like, they can't get any. What? I have my friends, like sneaking in hydroxychloroquine for me. I'm like, you have friends sneaking in hydroxychloroquine for you? Okay, this is not smart. They want to put me on oxygen. They want to intubate. My doctor came in and said, intubate me, and I refuse to get intubated. Like, okay. And I'm on a non-rebreather, blah, blah, blah. Last thing is, pray for me, I'm being intubated. That was a couple of days ago. It's all of the BS. It's like, you didn't see my video where I said monoclonal antibodies only work within the first 3 days. So when you were at home toughing it out was a time you should have been getting monoclonal antibodies. But you're going to wait till you get to the hospital to get monoclonal antibodies when we know they were like, you need to be admitted to the ICU. Monoclonal antibodies don't work well they don't work in the ICU, right? Because the disease process is too far, too progressed. You got to hit it early, right? So you're going to hear more and more stories of these. You're going to hear more and more stories of, orphan children, lost uncles, dads, and it's just weird. I've been talking for the last couple of weeks. I've been telling y'all about the Midwest is on fire, Rocky Mountains, area. So the summer surge hit the South. Delta surge hit the South. And then it's spreading to now all the New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, Wisconsin, all around the periphery, down the mountains. Arizona is 75% increase in cases in Arizona, and it's New Mexico is 55% increase. Everybody that avoided the summer Delta surge is getting hit by the Delta surge now. And I have motherfuckers on my fan page who go, well, Dr. V, you were saying like all these football games were going to cause the surge, and what happened? This is what you're seeing. Light bulb moment, anybody? All these universities that started having football games, right? Minnesota, Wisconsin, right? And they did not experience the Delta surge in the summer. Because the southern states, Alabama, Houston, Florida, we went through our Delta surge. So when we started doing football games, the cases weren't there. The cases were up in Tennessee, West Virginia, South Carolina. And from Tennessee, we spread over to Michigan, Wisconsin. And those are the super spreader events. Does that make sense? And so now, November, you're seeing the ramifications of all the football games, homecoming back in October, Halloween parades, all the shit that they were doing, they're seeing now because they didn't experience the Delta surge in the summer. I hope that makes sense. I will probably do another video on that because I think that's super important. Love you. See you next time. Remember, our movement is to say you cannot co-opt the term natural immunity. We all have natural immunity. You have post-infection immunity. I have post-vaccination immunity. And the other people have non-immunity. They're non-immunized. Okay? Love y'all very much. See you next time.